Good evening, Princess. It is evening, not too late, not too early in the evening, and I am at Epcot, if you can't tell by Mission Space. Behind me, I'm here primarily for my steps. Going to do kind of a figure eight around the park and see what else is going on. No real other plans, actually. I am late, well, not really later than planned. I just came here because I was done working and, well, because I can. And yeah, well, that's it. I don't know, there's something I feel like talking about now that cruise season is coming up, and in addition to just relaxing on a cruise, there's something you can do to make it even less stressful, and it kind of has a tie into vacations here at Walt Disney World, which I don't really do anymore. I just kind of come whenever I want, but it's something that I think too many people get too involved in, and I learned a long time ago, yeah, maybe don't bother. But right now, I'm going to head that way and then that way around for my figure eight, and let's see what's going on. I said this is not what we're going to talk about, but I said I was going to do a figure eight around Epcot. So I'm right here in, this is not International Gateway, this is the end of the spine, forget what it is. Anyway, there's Spaceship Earth. So I came in the main entrance, I went through Future World East, I am crossing this way, I'm going to do a loop around World Showcase, then head into Future World West, then end up in the entrance plaza, and that will be the figure eight. I will see how many steps that is, just for a kind of a basis curiosity. I see how far we get type of deal. I will stop for some photo passes, but I probably won't stop for rides. Park is open for a few more hours, so if I do want to do some rides, I can do that afterwards. Because remember, work first, then fun. Unless you can do the fun first and then work, because, well, you can. The question remains unanswered. Who approved this? Seriously. There is some construction going on in the Morocco Pavilion. I would make a joke about it, but that's something that has to stay in the family. And yes, we do joke about these things. Get over it. I'm back to the entrance plaza now and just checked the pedometer, and it wasn't as many as I thought it would be, and that includes the walk in from the parking lot. Basically, it gave me my normal daily goal, so no extra for being here. Even though the park seems a lot bigger, I'm actually a little bit surprised by that. But it's fine, because I'm probably going to end up walking around again, because lines are short. I have some time before got to go to bed, and I feel like riding some rides, so let's start with Spaceship Earth. After the demolition, the lighting tower is really noticeable. And today's topic, yes, it is 2 days later, and I am at Universal because it got dark at Epcot, and there was really no good place to talk because of lighting. It's very dark there, especially at night. That's kind of obvious. Why did I even say that? Anyway, yes, the important topic of the day is reservations. Something that I don't do anymore, especially on a cruise. And so my recommendation is to not, with a little asterisk proviso we'll get to at the end. So here's the thing about reservations, and it's the same for Walt Disney World. They are like huge anchors in your day, and it's really hard to move them once you make them, because you try to make them for optimal times, and then people look around you, and then it just becomes a complication. At least that's what I found. I mean, years and years ago, I went on a cruise with some friends, and we made all the reservations ahead of time, like all the good advice says. But once we got on board, and once we got into the sailing, and things started happening, and the daily schedule became available, there was almost always, maybe one exception, something else I wanted to do. But we had reservations for dinner or a show, and, you know, it just became a complication. A lot of people say, well, make reservations to make it easier, but I found that when you schedule something so far in advance, that it's now something you have to worry about, something you have to think about getting ready for, and it's always on your mind what time. And I prefer the more freewheeling way to go about it. And yeah, that applies for cruises and for my theme park trips. I mean, Universal is not really a huge thing. You can pretty much get a table anywhere, anytime, even before all the nonsense. So, maybe not here, but definitely at Walt Disney World. And, even for some of the premium places, if you just keep trying on that one day, you might get lucky, and that's fine. I would rather do that than, have this thing 6 months out that I have to plan for and plan around. And I can't go anywhere else because I have a reservation for Be Our Guest, and, not for me at all. And especially on a cruise, there's so many things going on, and there's so many things going on that you don't really know about until you get on board, that I think it's kind of a detriment. Like I said, they're anchors in your schedule, and it's something that I learned not to deal with. So the next cruise, we made a couple of reservations, and still, same thing. Always had to plan for it, and it was just terrible. So then I just stopped. The last, 7, 8, 9 cruises I've been on, I haven't made any reservations at all. Nothing done ahead of time. I was like, you know what? Let's just see what's going on, and I'll figure it out as I go, and still going to have a great time. And you know what? It worked out, because I found that the flexibility and not having them hanging over you was so much more relaxing and enjoyable than having to schedule my vacation, which is what you kind of have to do at work. So my advice for me, well, you know what? No, screw it. My advice, and that means it's correct, is don't bother. Just wing it. Go with the flow. You're on a cruise. Why worry about things that are coming up? If you don't want to do it, you don't do it. Just figure it out. It will almost always work out. And if it doesn't, you just go on another cruise. Now, there is one thing I will add to this that makes it easier for me, and it's kind of obvious, but I'm very hungry right now, as I always say, because I always am. So let's deal with that first. This is the andouille twisted tater with the andouille queso. The queso being a $2 upcharge outside of the lanyard, but I have seen similar dishes at a number of places, and this is the first one I've actually tried. So I'm going to pay extra attention, hopefully I remember, because this twisted tater is a particular specialty at Dollywood, which I'm going to make an extra effort to get to this summer because, well, Dollywood. All right, let's, well, you know the deal. Eating time. That was the tater twisted something or other, whatever I said before, and that was really good. Best decision I've made at this food festival so far. Everything's been really good, but I think normally I wouldn't have gotten this because I went to the booth and there was nobody in line, nobody waiting, so I figured, okay, no problem, I'll just get it right now. If there had been a line or something, I probably would have skipped it, but I'm glad there was no line because that was absolutely delicious. Definitely get the queso. It does add enough to justify, I know, $2. It's a lot of money, I get it, but you know what? It's a day to splurge, okay? It does definitely add enough to the dish to justify the added significant expense. So definitely recommend the queso sauce. Now I am going to head to Germany and try bratwurst. I looked at all the other Mardi Gras food and it's the same stuff. Crab boil, shrimp boil, etouffee, things that I've had plenty of times, except for one thing, which is on the option list for dessert. So we'll see. I'm not going to make any promises, but it looks good. But okay, off to Germany. This is the beer braised bratwurst with caramelized onions and mustard. Something I had recently, that's right, at SeaWorld. They served it with a cheese sauce. I think it should have been with a mustard sauce. So this is mustard and chips. We'll see about the chips. Sometimes these chips aren't that great, but the brat is looking good so far. And we are 2 for 2 at Universal today. The brat was delicious. The Universal culinary team, it seems like they're going for a very, locally authentic profile on everything. I said the same thing about the bangers and mash I had the other day in Leaky Cauldron, and this was pretty much what I would expect to get at some random cart at a random train station somewhere in Germany. And that means it was really, really enjoyable and really delicious. So in that respect, absolutely spot on, and great choice. Definitely recommend. Might ask for a little bit more mustard. I like that, but other than that, definitely a winner here. So it is now time for dessert, which means I'm gonna head back to New Orleans. I think that is the decision. So let's head that way. Nothing like finishing a delicious German dinner in front of London. Either way, let's finish up on what I was talking about earlier, and that's reservations on the cruise ship. Now, I will admit, there is one thing that makes it easier for me to get away with the no reservation plan, and that's I usually travel solo. Meaning it's a lot easier to find a two-top in a restaurant, or a seat at a bar, or one seat in the theater, and I've never really had a problem when it's just me. I have gotten some great seats in the shows because it's just me. You know, one seat, like fourth row center, that's awesome. You'd really have to get there like an hour ahead of time if you had a group to get that location. So it's always worked out for me. And even in the restaurants, they seem to be very accommodating to solo travelers. Maybe because we pay double on a lot of cruise lines. Either way, I do know, and I will admit, that is a reason that I really don't have a problem with not making any reservations. But remember, I absolutely do not apologize for my solo privilege, and I will leverage it whenever possible. It does make things a lot easier. So if you're traveling alone, you know what, I would say don't worry too much about the reservations. Just go with the flow. Even if you're a couple who can stand to sit apart for an hour or so, especially at a show, then you know what? Maybe those reservations aren't really that necessary for you. I don't know. If you're a large group, then yeah, definitely you kind of need to make reservations because seating 5, 6, 10 people could be a problem. But for me, you know what? I prefer just to board and not really know what's going to happen, not bother with it, not put all those horrible anchors in my schedule, and just enjoy as it comes. Anyway, so that's my recommendation. Don't bother with reservations on a cruise or at a theme park. Just, you know what? Enjoy it, have fun, go with the flow. If you miss something, I don't know, you miss it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You see it later, or you do something different that's just as fun. Okay, now it's time for dessert. Here I am at Islands of Adventure. There goes the Incredible Hulk. Gonna have to ride that soon. It's been a while. I did not get the dessert I wanted because they stopped serving at 6 o'clock, even though the park closes at 7. Understandable. So I came over here just to see what was going on, and about to head out. Maybe we'll stop for a comparable treat in City Walk. I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to share with you my thoughts on getting reservations, you know, at theme parks and on particularly cruises, and why I'm not really making any reservations for the cruises I have coming up, because I'm just gonna wing it because it's worked for me so many times in the past. And I realize, like I said, I might miss a show or have to see it on a different day, or I might have to change around my intended dining plans or something, or I might even miss a restaurant and have to go on another cruise to try it. But that is why I am thankful for my problems.